I was scrolling through Twitter a while back when I came across this tweet. Basically, someone was claiming to have co-authored a children's book with the help of AI. Now, some people were receptive, but it's safe to say that not everyone was a fan. Personally, I think that most people, including the author of this tweet, miss the big picture. Humans are really dumb. At least when it comes to performing repetitive tasks, we are stupidly slow. If the point of this experiment was to produce a children's book as fast as possible, why hold it back with human hesitation? In my mind, by removing human input from the equation entirely, I could produce an equally soulless product in just a fraction of the time. So, I decided to dedicate the next week of my life trying to achieve just that. The idea here was simple. I'd use a series of AI technologies for the entire children's book pipeline. This includes selecting a title, writing a story from that title, generating images from scenes in that story, and formatting all of this into a neat, publishable package. The first step of this process was relying on a little website called ChatGPT. And if you don't know what that is, well, it's happy to talk about itself.
ChatGPT is a language model based on the GPT 3.5 architecture, which utilizes deep neural networks to generate natural language responses to user input.
ChatGPT is like a really smart robot friend that can talk and understand what you say. It's like having a really cool pen pal who can help you with your homework or just chat with you.
At first, I tried to automate access to the website, but it seems that OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, was able to develop an advanced automation detection system. Fortunately, though, OpenAI has provided a neat little platform to access their services in the form of an API, or Application Programming Interface, which allows programmers to access, add, or modify information, usually for a small price. It's kind of like a librarian that sometimes takes your lunch money. So after breezing through some documentation, I went ahead and got started. In the superior scripting language, I created a story generator class which served as a container for all of my desired functionality. The first method I defined reads in my personal OpenAPI token and sets it for later use. You can think of this token as a sort of badge, like a library card. Next, I wrote a flexible method that makes a call to the ChatGPT API using this token and several other parameters. The main ones we'll focus on are the prefix, which defines how the result should be formatted, and the temperature, which describes the response randomness, 0 being fairly tame and 1 being a little spicy. The rest we'll leave for the machine learning dorks out there. Sweet, let's give it a shot. Well, I can't speak to the accuracy, but the method seems to work. One of the great things about ChatGPT is its flexibility. In the case of this project, I asked it to perform as an API itself, returning the information we want as an easily processed format called JSON. Let's see what that looks like. Awesome. I had my story ideas. I could then pick one at random and get rid of the rest. With the story, title, and description selected, I used this as a prompt to generate the whole story. Specifically, I asked for the result to be organized by scenes, to make the page separation simple. For each scene in the story, I also asked for a visual description, like those provided for the visually impaired. These descriptions were then handed off to DALL-E, an image generation model also created by OpenAI. The model is capable of producing convincing, childlike illustrations. Usually. But, for the sake of this experiment, I assume that children were too dumb to notice. Placing the pictures was quite simple. I used OpenCV to duplicate, scale, and blur the image to fill up more of the page. The end result kinda looked like a poorly cropped video, but it got the job done.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Placing the text posed a unique challenge. Unfortunately, Microsoft Word is not an IDE. So I needed to calculate all the text formatting manually. The first step was splitting the text into sentences, looping through each sentence to calculate the space required for each new line used by that sentence based on the font size and page width.
We're going to try and learn as much Python as we can in 5 minutes. So let's get started.
Welcome to a brand new tutorial series on OpenCV and the current page index.
I think that there are a lot of people who are getting into the whole coding, software engineering business who really have no business getting into this area.
And that's all there really was to it. A perfect text formatting script. With all the pages of the storybook automated front to back, I could call this project complete. That is, if people actually still read books. But let's be real. In an era of short-form content, people are more likely to read something if it's in the form of a 30-second video. This would also avoid the headache of getting the books printed. So, for a little extra spice, I decided to add audio and video to each of the stories. For audio, I felt narration would be fitting. Fortunately, there's a text-to-speech API called 11 Labs. This service is incredibly powerful, allowing users to clone a voice using just a couple of sound clips. But it's important to note that with this power, there comes a massive responsibility. In fact, 11 Labs has an entire safety section on their website dedicated to ensuring the technology is used morally.
Holy shit, dude, no one cares. Finish up this video before my chocolate chip ice cream melts, bitch.
With all the pieces of our book complete, I could string them together into a short-form video using MoviePy, a Python module for creating and editing movies. This module allowed me to programmatically add audio to the images, and even some neat transitions. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. Generated in just 1 minute and 6 seconds, for the measly price of 10 cents, please enjoy this AI presentation.
Alice was walking through a meadow one day when she saw a white rabbit scurrying by. She followed the rabbit, curious to see where it was going. The rabbit hopped down a hole in the ground and Alice followed it, not knowing what to expect. When she reached the bottom of the hole, she found herself in a magical world filled with strange creatures. Alice was amazed by all the sights and sounds of this new world. She saw talking animals, flying carpets, and castles made of candy. She decided to explore this new world and see what kind of adventures she could have. Alice spent days exploring this magical land, meeting new creatures and having fantastical adventures. She rode on flying carpets, played croquet with flamingos, and even had tea
with the Queen of Hearts.
Huh. That seems oddly specific.
He copied my whole fucking flow! Word for word, bar for bar!
In fact, in the process of generating stories for this video, I discovered that the program is really good at creating bootlegs, or just straight up plagiarism. And I suppose that's the point of this video. Even in my effort to remove any form of interaction with AI during this process, the human influence is still clearly present. The stories, while impressive, could never be described as wholly original. As we praise the accomplishments of AI models, it's also really important to remember that human creativity laid the foundation. Many companies seem to present AI as a self-contained black box, but this experiment pointed to cracks in this facade and serves as a crucial reminder of the ethical concerns underlying AI and its development. Even though I'm still super stoked about the future of AI, I'm also equally apprehensive of the idea that we may someday replace the distinctly human element of art and literature with a cheap, soulless imitation. Hey, if you made it this far, I just wanted to personally say thank you. This is my first video on YouTube, and really the first time editing on this scale, so there's definitely room for improvement. But if you enjoyed the video, feel free to let me know and share it with other people you think might like it. I have quite a few ideas on this topic, and positive feedback helps motivate me to produce better content. I'll also be posting some of the more original generated stories on my socials, so if you're interested, be sure to follow me using the links in the description. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my work, and I'll see you next time.